If you're in the thick of it right now trying to get out of debt or trying to curb your shopping habit, you probably won't believe me when I say I'm actually happier living a frugal lifestyle. The past 2.5 years that I've been living frugally and living on a budget, I've been thriving in ways that I could not have imagined. Living frugally for the first time is really changing my life for the better. To start, I feel like I can actually breathe for the first time. Before I started living on a budget and I was just spending more than I was even making, thought that I could buy my way out of problems. I had severe social anxiety and I still do. And I thought that if I owned cool designer things, then people would like me more, or maybe they wouldn't even notice that I was like, that I thought I was so awkward because they would be distracted by the designer bags that I had or the cool shoes that I had. Now that I'm not drowning in stuff and drowning in debt, I feel like I don't even need material items to feel confident. I still struggle with social anxiety, but I feel like these days I'm just so much more comfortable with who I am. I understand what I actually like more. Like before, when I was just spending uncontrollably, I was buying things that maybe I didn't necessarily like, but I just knew other people liked it and I wanted them to like me. So I would just buy things to impress other people, and not having to do that anymore, it feels like just a weight has been lifted, um, emotionally and physically, and from my budget as well. I feel like I'm no longer waiting for the other shoe to drop. So I am a freelance writer, and that means that my income changes on a monthly basis. Like, I don't have a stable income basically. And when I was living beyond my means, I was just waiting for the other shoe to drop. I was always worried that I wasn't going to get enough work to cover my expenses, my credit card bill, and all of the other things that I had going on in my life. Like, I was spending out of control. But now that I live within my means, I follow a strict budget and I live an actually a frugal lifestyle, not just living within my means, but genuinely frugal. I have less financial anxiety overall. Even though I'm still getting out of debt, I feel like I have more control and stability. Decrease in anxiety was something that probably should have been obvious. I think anyone that follows a budget probably also feels like they can sleep a little bit better at night, but to me, it really surprised me. Along with making the change to live frugally and live on a budget, I also downsized majorly and became a minimalist as well, which I will do another video on that. I actually think that I was borderline hoarder and now I live in a micro studio apartment. Like, I live extremely minimally. But between frugal living and minimalism, I actually feel more abundant than I ever did when I was overspending. For example, before I made this lifestyle change, I was living in an apartment with an ex boyfriend. It was kind of a two-bedroom. There was this bedroom that couldn't really function as a bedroom or an office because there were no windows, and I convinced him to turn it into a walk-in closet for the two of us. And for some reason, I just thought that was like peak abundance, having this walk in closet that was jam packed with stuff that I didn't even wear. You know, when you're in a store or you're in your own closet and you're moving the hangers so you can see the different garments that are hanging, like I couldn't do that because this closet was so jam packed full of stuff. Not only that, but I had thousands of dollars of designer items that I could not afford. Like, I will tell you, it's not like my parents bought them for me or like whatever. Like, no, these bags went on my credit cards that I couldn't pay off, and I was proudly displaying them in this closet full of stuff, and I didn't even wear any of it. Like, it was just like a museum of debt basically, and I thought that that's what I needed to feel abundant. But now I have this tiny closet. I might have like 30 hangers, probably about 30 hangers. I know every piece that I wear, and like just being able to see and know and love everything that you have, even if they're not the most expensive, they're not the most trendy or the most enviable pieces, just knowing and having that sort of like organization mentally and physically, it makes me feel more abundant in a way that's hard to explain. Like, you would think that a closet that was worth thousands would make me feel more abundant than a closet that has like 2 vintage designer bags and 30 pieces from thrift stores. But I don't know, there's something about just like being the steward of your things, taking really good care of what you have instead of just like having more. So, like, I would never, this is like making me sound a bit like a slob. And like I said, I was borderline hoarder. So I was a little bit of a slob back then. But like I would never lint roll my items before wearing them. I would never steam them. Like I just put on my wrinkly old garments and thought because they were worth hundreds of dollars that that was enough. But like now I feel like I'm truly a steward of my items. I take really good care of them. I lint roll them before I hang them. Like I have a cat, so like lint rolling is necessary to not look like a slob, but like just having everything looking fresh and well taken care of, it feels really good. Weirdly, at the same time, I'm way less attached to my items than I was when I was spending like crazy. So like yes, I have pieces. Like I moved from Canada to Turkey and then from Turkey back to Canada within the span of just over a year. And I brought, I think, 6 suitcases worth of stuff with me, and that includes like 50 books. I used to have like over 1,000 books. Now I've pared it down to maybe, I want to say 50. But the thing is that I'm not as attached to my items as I once was. Now that I'm living frugally, I feel like it's easier to not go without, but like, I don't know. It's like weird. I don't feel the need to hang on to things. And like, if something breaks, I will find a workaround. Like, I don't need to rush out and buy something else or like mourn the loss of something. Which is not to say that I don't take care of my things. I do. Like I said, I take care of them more now than I used to. But I just don't have the same like emotional attachment to my items. And I think that's because I don't place my self worth in my items anymore. So, this next point I kind of already touched on, but I just feel a lot cleaner now that I live frugally, which might sound really weird. But I have less things. I go through less things. I'm more intentional, and it just makes it easier to keep my apartment cleaner. So my apartment is, I want to say 200 square feet, maybe a little bit bigger. It's very, very small, and I love it. I used to want a big house. Like I never really lived in big places. I've always lived in the city, and yeah, so, like, except for when I was a child, like, living at home with my parents, I've always lived in relatively small spaces, but this is definitely the smallest space that I've been in, and since I've gone on my frugal living journey, it's been studio apartments only, and I love it. It's, like, so manageable. I'm one person with a senior cat, so it's not like I'm sharing my space with a partner or a child or anything, but just for me and my cat, it's so manageable, and I just love feeling like I'm taking care of my space and that it's clean. Like I feel like I have more self-respect and it's really nice. So another way that living frugally is changing my life is the determination and tenacity that I've proven to myself that I have. When I was in the worst phase of my shopaholic journey or whatever, I really, I don't know, I subscribe to like the Carrie Bradshaw narrative of like having credit card debt is cute and like it all works out in the end, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm not smart enough to figure out my finances. I'm just doing the best I can, which is a load of crap. I will recognize that now. I wish I recognized it sooner, but better late than never. But realizing that I have this drive and determination to get out of debt completely changed my lifestyle and learn about personal finance, which is something that, like, I was an art person in high school. Like, I didn't really, I don't know. I was like one of those people that were like, oh, I hate math, meh, meh, meh. But it doesn't take that much to learn personal finance. I think I was just avoiding it because I was scared I wouldn't be good at it right away, and also, I don't know, I just feel like there's this narrative around, like, creative girls don't have to be good with money, and it's bullshit. Figuring out that I had this within me to completely 180 my lifestyle, get out of almost 6 figures of debt, it translated into other aspects of my life as well that I wasn't confident in. It basically made me realize that it sounds so cheesy, but I can do hard things. And I keep that in my mind every day. So, yeah, it's been 2 years since I really changed my lifestyle. And I realized that I can pretty much do anything that I set my mind to, which sounds so cheesy, but I kind of feel like I had this block before where if something seemed like it was hard, I just wouldn't attempt it. Or like if something wasn't for me, then I would just forego it. So, for example, in the 2 years since I started living frugally, I've challenged myself to get my driver's license, and I'm 33 years old. I got my driver's license when I was 32. That's like 16 years later. Like, I could have gotten my driver's license when I was 16 and I waited until I was 32. That's one example. I never thought I could drive. I thought I just like it wasn't for me. I wasn't spatially aware enough, and I don't know where I even got this idea. But since proving to myself that I could live frugally and get out of debt, I decided to get my driver's license. I also learned to swim. I took swimming lessons at the community pool by my old apartment 2 years ago, which for many reasons is like shocking to me and like one of my greatest achievements because I had body image issues. So showing up to a pool by myself in a bathing suit, oh my gosh, it triggered my body image issues. It triggered my social anxiety. It triggered the perfectionism that I have. It was just like true exposure therapy. And it was one of the best experiences I think I've had in the past couple of years. It was me and a handful of older ladies, probably in their 70s, and the trainers were teenagers on the swim team. So it was a humbling experience, but also so empowering. And now I can swim. Like, I'm so proud of myself for that. And I never would have done it, I don't think, if I didn't start living frugally and challenging my preconceived notions of what I could do. I think I just like it made me challenge my beliefs in myself. So, another thing that I was really scared of was being perceived. Since the age of 9 or 10, I was taking French lessons. Then I lived in Montreal for a decade. Do I speak perfect French? No, because I was scared of people hearing my accent and making fun of me or switching to English. So, right around the time of my frugal journey, I moved to Istanbul and I took Turkish lessons in person. It was like 3 days a week. Plus, living in Istanbul, I was practicing my Turkish every single day. And that was just like truly my number one thing that I was ashamed of my personality was how shy I was trying to speak another language. And the exposure therapy from living in Istanbul and proving to myself that I can learn a language from scratch was amazing. Now, unfortunately, I've left Istanbul and I'm back in Canada, back in Montreal. But I'm trying to apply the same principle and practice my French, even though it's not perfect. I know that doesn't directly relate with being frugal, but I think it was just like the fact that I'm challenging myself to do these things that I previously thought I could never do. It just like started with the frugal living and snowballed from there. I also just trust my vision way more, which sounds a little like manifestation woo woo, but as I'm a freelance writer, but I'm basically a solopreneur. So I write for magazines and blogs. I'm also a published guidebook author, and I do various other things on the side to kind of like create multiple streams of income. And knowing that I live on the frugal side, I'm still paying off debt, but I do have an investment portfolio. I just feel like I can enjoy living a more creative and kind of fluid freedom lifestyle. So sometimes I there are peaks and valleys in freelance writing and I guess any kind of job where you're not in a 9 to 5 fixed income. And when I was not living frugally, those valleys hit hard. The peaks, I would just spend everything and then some. And then when the valleys came, I did not know what to do because my personal cost of living was just like beyond what I was actually making. Now I feel like I can relax into the more creative roles that I have. Even some of them, well, most of them don't pay that well, but It's not that they don't pay well. I'm not living like a six-figure lifestyle with freelance writing work, especially in this kind of like AI, not great economy era, but I feel comfortable knowing that I live within my means. I live below my means, and I can cover my bases without needing to only have the peaks, which has made me a more creative person overall. I feel like I take more risks. Like last year, for example, I wrote a memoir, 85,000 words. I've published books before, but this one is not agented and I don't have a book deal. So it was really just for the art of creating. I hope to publish it, but that's just one example. Like when you know that you're not living outside of your means, especially if you're in a creative role, it's like your creativity has more room to kind of flourish without having anxiety telling you you need to be like hitting your nose to the grindstone and like making as much money as possible. Living frugally has also weirdly changed my relationship with my community. Like my friendships, I value more than ever before, which kind of makes me emotional to think about, to be honest. Like before I started changing my lifestyle and I was really like living to shop, I did not, I still obviously valued my friendships and I have close friends. Most of my close friends now were still my close friends then. But what I mean is that I felt like I needed to impress people, even my close friends, even my closest friends. Like if I didn't bring a bottle of Veuve Clicquot champagne to their birthday, I would wonder like what they thought of me. If I brought something that was like a normal dollar amount to spend on a bottle of wine, like I wanted it's almost like I wanted my friends to admire me and I don't know why. And none of my friends were like that. Like, yes, I had some friends that like grew up with a lot of money and had nice things, but like nobody was like commenting on my Birkin bag telling me how beautiful it was. Like they weren't telling me that like they liked me better as a friend because I bought a new Chanel bag. Like actually it was kind of the opposite. I feel like most of my friends were kind of concerned for me when I was like, spending so much money and they knew that I didn't have that money to spend. And now I feel like I just value that time that I have with them more than I ever did before. I feel like I'm not wasting time on how I'm perceived or worrying about what they think of me because they're my friends and they've been my friends for so long. So it's like I know they like me and like I don't have to prove anything to them. So I feel like I've been just enjoying friendships for being friendships, like being there for each other, being a part of each other's lives, like chatting, catching up in a way that I didn't before, which like makes me so emotional. But like I said, I'm just glad that I recognized it and made the changes. Another thing that changed is that I can splurge mindfully. So, for example, when I moved back to Canada from Istanbul, I bought myself a Lululemon matching set and an Aritzia Super Puff jacket, which I know both of those are kind of like TikTok influenced me kind of items, but I work out every single day and I do not regret the Lululemon set that I got. And the Super Puff was on sale, and I needed a winter jacket coming back to Canada in the winter. And see, like, those two items isolated might seem like superficial or like a lot of money to spend on these items. But when you know exactly how much you're spending, you know how much you're saving, and you know how much you're putting towards investments or debt, you can splurge mindfully and really enjoy those items without feeling guilt about them. And I feel like even though I was buying stuff all the time in my shopaholic era, I did always feel a little guilty and a little like I knew I shouldn't be doing it, and it made me enjoy the items less. But now, even though I'm not splurging, like I bought that one Lululemon set like 3 months ago, and I won't be buying another one for a long time. It's like I enjoy it every day and I don't feel a single lick of guilt over it. I made an iced matcha with vanilla soy milk and it's actually really good. So, yeah, I guess the main takeaway is that I just feel like leagues happier. I think my spending problem came from just like not feeling confident in myself, not feeling worthy, just looking for something to give me a dopamine boost. And it was really just a crutch. Like, I don't know. There was a lot going on in my life back then. I was in a very unhappy relationship for a long time. I didn't trust myself. Like, it was a rough time, and the shopping was like a band aid. But now, not only am I out of that dark period of my life in terms of like not having the best relationship, like trying to figure things out as I turn 30, whatever, I just feel like the self confidence that I have and like the true like peacefulness that I feel with my finances, even as I'm still trying to get out of debt from like this shopping history and not paying my taxes and what have you, I just feel so much happier. Like, I really feel like I'm thriving. I'm in an era that I just like, I feel like I am looking out for myself and almost like, it sounds so cheesy, but it's almost like I'm parenting myself in a way that feels really safe. Like, I just trust that I have my back and I can figure it out. And I didn't always feel that way. And I know that being more mindful of my spending, creating a tight budget, living below my means, living frugally, whatever you want to call it. I know that was the catalyst for all this other change, and I'm so grateful for it. Like, I never thought I would be grateful for the CRA, like garnishing my bank account and getting into this tax debt and everything that led me to this point. But I weirdly am. I'm weirdly grateful that I had this kind of like rocky start to my personal finances so that I could use it to prove to myself that I'm so much more capable than I give myself credit for. So, yeah, I guess I'm ending on a cheesy note, but I'll see you in the next one.